Hello, hello. What up? Good morning. Not even close to morning. Afternoon. Good afternoon, folks. Howdy, howdy. Good morning. Just me this morning. We're going to do a couple episodes here real fast. I'm hoping that we can sneak them in. This music is too crazy. Let me go back to some... Here we go. Happy Yoshi music. There we go. Just popping in to say hi, House PJs. Hello, howdy, howdy. Welcome to the stream. We're just starting up. Maybe I'll ping everybody on Discord. Maybe I won't. We'll fuck around, find out, you know. Just gonna do a little recording today of a new episode. Ooh. And let's see, let me just ping everybody here. What happened? Did something happen? I missed it. New follow? Welcome. What's up, bro? I'm on Twitch, answer questions right now, recording new episodes of the podcast. I'm just pinging the Discord. DK Magnus videos. Yeah, sweet. Howdy. All right. Let's see. What do we want to talk about today? First off, I think it's time to do a plugin update. I'm really excited about this one. And then also, I think it's also a great time to, you know what the most successful videos and podcast episodes are? It's the one where it's like this one trick or three tricks, or even something that's along the lines of, this is why you suck. So it's just like either like the one trick pony or like, this is why you suck. Yeah, Lou got his eye poked and he's doing good. He's actually busy today. He's finishing up with another studio. He's building another studio and he's been finishing that up. That's been eating his time for the last month. And I played basketball. Nice, thank you. Oh, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for subscribing with Prime. Appreciate it. Anyway, but Lou, I was playing basketball this morning, so I wanted to start a little bit later. Played basketball with a group of friends, so I just want to get started a little later, and Lou had to be in the studio, so yeah, that's where we're at right now. So let's do a couple shorter episodes. I want to keep these like 20 minutes or less. If y'all have any questions, then I'm more than happy to answer them. Otherwise, we'll probably just do one about plugins and plugins that I've been liking recently, that I've been experimenting with. And maybe we'll do like a clickbaity. It's a clickbaity.
Nothing seems to improve. But then
A clickbaity. We'll do like a clickbaity one-trick pony kind of a thing. Happy 4th of July tomorrow. Happy 4th of July. Happy American independence. It's great that we're independent, right? Anyway. All right. Okay, let's do a couple things here. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I will go ahead and start with a plugins update video. Turn down this music. Here we are. And I'll try my best to like answer questions while we're recording, but honestly speaking, what's probably going to happen is I won't be able to address questions during the recording process until after everything is done. So we'll do our very best here. Thanks for everybody that's stopping by. Okay, here it is. Alrighty, here we go. Hello and welcome back to the Mixing Music Podcast. I'm your host DK, and today Lou is not with me. He is busy building another studio. But today we have a great episode about plugins. And we wanted to give another plugin update for, what is this? Is July, the beginning of July, is July 3rd, one day away. At least the time of the recording is July 3rd. This episode will come out on the 4th of July. But I wanted to give a little plug-in update of plugins that I've been using, how I've been using them. We like to do this every once in a while. So here it is, as of the beginning of July 2023, plugins that I've liked using, that I have been enjoying as well. So this last few months, we've been getting a lot of requests from companies about trying out their plugins, and they give us some license codes. And full disclosure here, they give us free access to their plugins in exchange for a little shout out. And I will give you full disclosure on how I like using them, if I like them at all. They do not pay me. They definitely don't pay me to give good reviews. They do not make sure that they do not review what I say. So just full disclosure, what I say is totally my thoughts. They do not get to approve this episode before it comes out. And I wanted to give a few shout outs, but as well as talk about some plugins that just totally on my own. And I first want to start off with FabFilter L2. I'm really late to the game with this one. I've been using Pro Q3, but FabFilter L2, which is their limiter, is fantastic. It's really great. And I've been able to get a lot more loudness, a little bit more loudness out of everything without squeezing, distorting as much. It's interesting. What I've been doing up until now is using a combination of Invisible Limiter and the Oxford Limiter. But recently, I've kind of gotten rid of the Oxford limiter, and I've just been pushing volume. And for some reason, the L2, I'm less afraid to push it a little bit more. So I've been using the FabFilter L2, and I've been using it in a one-to-one kind of setting that they have in the bottom right, where you're literally just using it as a limiter and it doesn't raise the volume at all. And then I'm also using it as like a final limiter / maximizer at the very end. It's fantastic. It sounds great. Got a lot of different options, and visuals are fine. Everything is fine. I've been using that a lot more recently, and I haven't been using it for my entire career. So it's interesting that I've been using that. Another shout out, we recently got, me, Lou, and Braden from Flint Mastering, right? Who's in charge of the exclusive episodes. We got access to a company called Gem or Overloud Gem plugins. So they have a bunch of different plugins. This Overloud company sent us about 5 different NFRs for different things. I just specifically want to talk about their tape desk. Now, I have a lot of tape emulation plugins. I think out of all the types of plugins to use, my favorite is definitely any sort of saturation distortion type. Those are my favorites. Soft clipping, hard clipping, those are my favorite types of plugins. And when I use compression, it's partially to use the harmonic. So I don't really like, although I do use something super generic like an LA3A type clone plugin, which is just a it's just an LA2A but with FET, and it's typically a little bit faster attack and release. As much as I love using those for like generic compression when I don't give a crap, I love using special types of compressors for their harmonic saturation. And this Overloud company has a plugin called Gem Tape Desk. and I've been using it a lot, and it is fantastic. Not only is this tape saturation actually subtle and usable from a bus or even a mix bus situation, but it also has preamp emulation. It's really cool. What's emulating is it's going through the console and a preamp into the tape machine. So it's mimicking the console and sorry, not preamp, but it's going through the line level signal of the console and kind of doing that summing sound and then going into the tape machine. So, and you could turn off just the console and just use the tape machine, but it's this really cool thing. You can change it from an SSL style preamp / summing to Neve and then a newer Neve as well. And it is super cool. You can hear the different harmonic saturations, hear the mid-range come out with the Neve, hear kind of flatten out with the SSL. You can push, and the tape is really subtle as well, so it's not overbearing. Some tape machine emulations are really strongly saturated or very full of character, but this one is more clean, and I love it. It's a lot more subtle. It's really, really great, actually. It's probably been my favorite outside of the UAD, Studer, and Ampex. I'm sorry if I'm like talking about things that nobody's ever heard of, but as far as tape machines go, really love it. Also been playing with their LA2A version, which is fine. Honestly, it's fine. It's fine. It's slower. The attack and release feels a lot slower. They also have, I love their, what is it called? Their Dimension D emulation that they have. I think it sounds fantastic. There's this cool plugin called Dopamine. I have no idea what the heck it does. But all of this you can like review and you can check out. And they are sponsoring the show as well. So they might be, you might hear a little sponsor shout out for their company if you are listening sometime at the end of July, beginning of August. You might hear a shout out for them. Anyway, totally cool company. They have a lot of great plugins as well, something that you could definitely check out. I've been using their Gem Dimension D, which is free, if I'm not mistaken. That's a free plugin. And the Dimension D Chorus is a fantastic free plugin that you should download right now. It's great, and I use it all the time. And especially if you don't have the UAD one, this is fantastic. It's great. In fact, it's more flexible than the UAD one. So definitely worth checking out. Another company that has sent us plugins to try that I've really liked is Safari Pedals. Now, Safari Pedals has 3 plugins out right now, and they are about to have a 4th come out. I believe it's a delay of some kind. But right now I do have the Gorilla Drive, and these are cool. The plugins, they look like guitar pedals, and I think the creator is actually turning them into pedals, like stomp boxes, but not necessarily for guitars, but for like your voice. So it's like XLR input and output. It's really interesting. It's a mix engineer. It's an audio engineer, Noam Levenberg, who makes this. And there's 4 out right now, but the 3 that I have, Gorilla Drive, Time Machine. Time Machine is like a specific type of, it's a combination of a compressor as well as some sort of like filter. So it's got like 4 different settings, the sound of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And it's got like different filters. So it like rolls off the low and the top end to kind of give it this vintage tone. It's really sweet. So if you're looking to do something modern vintage, it's really dope. They also have a flamingo verb. The flamingo verb is really interesting. So you can get it. It's pretty flexible, but it's pretty springy. It feels like a spring reverb, which is really interesting in itself. And it's actually got this very unique characteristic that very like kind of lo-fi, but also like very groovy, kind of what you'd expect like the griminess of a spring reverb to be. But I don't know if it is a spring or if it's supposed to be emulating a spring. It just kind of gives that sort of vibe. And lastly, the Gorilla Drive is distortion, saturation. I haven't used it as much as the other 2, but Gorilla Drive is, for the little time that I did use it, is just a reliable little saturation knob, no issues. I saw the Yak delay that they have. I saw some videos of it on Instagram, and that looks cool as well. But anyway, Safari Pedals, totally cool. Check them out, and they're really cheap as well. I'm looking at like sub $50. Yeah, they're within that $20 to $30 range. And, oh wow, that's so cool. Yeah, it looks like the Gorilla Drive is actually coming out as a physical thing for like $300, $350. That's cool. So go check out the Safari plugins there. Lastly, this is my favorite plugin. This is something that I think you should check out is from, hold on, it's from Process Audio. It's from Process Audio. They're the sister company of, what are they called? What is the company called? The sister company of Mix Tutorial, the Fab DuPont one. What is it called? Mixwave. Oh my gosh. Fab DuPont has a company, like a learning company where you like compete with mixes and stuff. It's a cool little seminar thing. But this company, Rock Rupel Comp 2, their new compressor is fantastic. I think this one receives the gold star. When I first tried it, I didn't like it. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't like it when I first tried it. Check it out. Rock Rupel Comp 2 by Process Audio. Now, when I first tried it, it was really farty, kind of like a classic tube compressor. I was like, oh, wow, this sounds like a tube compressor, which doesn't always work. And I was like, wow, it's kind of got that low-end fart thing going on with this upper mid-range scoop with this top-end sparkle thing. And then I started pushing it and using the mix knob, but messing with the attack release. It's got the saturation circuit as well. And it's just absolutely incredible. There's this like workflow thing where you could put a bunch of instances on in a single session, and it pulls out this console thing where you can actually look at each individual instance from a single plugin. So you can see what all the compressors are doing. I think it sounds really good. And in fact, I did a shootout, and on one particular song, only it was on one particular song. It was one particular song. I compared it to my actual analog tube compressor that I have. That's basically the same sort of settings, the same sort of Verimute kind of vibe. And I actually preferred this plugin on that mix. Thank you, House PJs, for reminding me. Yes, Process Audio's sister company is PureMix. So if you're a member of PureMix, I think that you get either a major discount or get access to these plugins for free. But either way, this Rock Rupel is no joke. The modern tube compressor is no joke. The visualizer is great. The attack and release settings, the threshold, the input and output. Oh, man, it is fantastic. And I think this one, for this episode, gets my gold star of approval. I did not expect to like it. Like, I really did not like it at first. And, man, it really changed my mind on that shootout. It's really cool. It does this, like, whole squish thing, and it brings everything together that, in a way that I do not find most tubes do. I think tubes are fairly weak for that sort of thing. They're oftentimes a little bit too slow, a little bit too pumpy, and the harmonic saturation makes the bass fart a little bit sometimes. It's not as good for like mix bus stuff, in my personal opinion, the stuff that I've used, unless it's specifically tuned for that sort of thing. Where as far as like a shitty VCA compressor on the mix bus, you can really push the signal, I feel like. But yeah, this plugin did a really great job. Again, Rock Rupel Comp 2 from Process Audio. Congrats to them. Also, you know what else I've been playing with is the Waves Audio BB tubes. They got like the Beauty knob and the Beast knob for even and odd saturation. I've been fucking with that one too. That one's crazy. I did that on a mix, and sounded fantastic. I did it on a mix bus actually, and it sounded fantastic. I know this is completely unrelated, but I've recently been working with been doing some trial period stuff. I want to knock on wood and not jinx anything, but I've been blessed to be introduced to and work with some sort of management, and they've been putting in touch with some very great artists. And I've been using the BB tubes a lot on those guys. I've been using the Rock Rupel as well. And I can tell you right now, these are great plugins. And then anything from Plugin Alliance. I don't know why. They'll never sponsor me. I've reached out to them. They will never sponsor me. But I like them enough to let you know anything from Plugin Alliance is great. A big shout out to, specifically, if you haven't used it already, I recommend you try out BX Refinement. Something that nobody's ever talked about, nobody's ever used, nobody's ever seen. BX Refinement is a really good plugin from there. They have the UAD version, if I'm not mistaken, but Brainworks, who is the brother company of Plugin Alliance, Refinement, is fantastic. What it is, it's this plugin, it's this tube saturation / softener. Think like Soothe or Gullfoss in that sense, but it's not anything like that. It's a static thing. It's not selective frequency, but what it does is it kind of smooths out sources by inserting the natural curves of a tube device, meaning it'll kind of blow up the low end a little bit. It'll scoop the mid-range. That's the secret of the Brainworks Refinement plugin. It scoops out the upper mid-range. You can really hear that hissy 3K kind of disappear, and then it brightens up the top end, or it leaves it so it feels like there's a little bit of top end boost. You can add some presence, you can add some saturation, you can even do just mid-side processing, so just soften up the middle. It's a really, really cool tool for kind of softening up harsh mid-range things. And I don't think that plugin gets enough love, and I've been using it here and there every once in a while. And if you are already a member of Plugin Alliance, definitely download and give that a try. That's one of my favorites for sure. Love that one. Lastly, here's another one of those secret plugins. I haven't used it recently, but maybe you should try. I had some good results. Is the Limitless Limiter. Now, I love trying out. This is by DMG Audio. Limitless Limiter. It's fairly expensive. It's about $200. It is basically, it's not your traditional dynamics processor according to their website. It's basically a multi-band final limiter. So it's got multiple bands and it's got different settings, and you can adjust some settings for each band. It's really flexible, and you can use it on just vocals. You can use it on your mix bus. There's a lot of different things that you can use it for, and damn, when I was using it, it is fantastic. So for those that are willing to shelve it out, go ahead and download the demo there. Again, none of these companies are paying me. And to tell you that I like these plugins. And so go check them out. Once again, Gem Audio, Gem Overloud, and then the Gem plugins. We got Safari Pedals. What did we say? What else did we say? We got that Rock Rupel from Process Audio winning my gold star for this episode. The arbitrary gold star that has no meaning. And this last thing, the DMG Audio Limitless Master Limiter. You know what's interesting about these plugin episodes is that I'm not, and just this is a thought. I'm sorry, this is going to be like a Theo Von solo episode. I'm just going to kind of go off and talk about some experiences recently and just think out loud here. But it really hit me this week. The podcast is such an interesting thing. I don't know why I'm doing it. I've forgotten why I even started it. Well, I mean, I remember why, logically, but emotionally, I don't remember why I started it. And I've said in past episodes, as a mix engineer, doing a podcast about mixing to my peers has probably been the worst marketing decision I did. I just love mixing so much, and I love teaching about it in a scalable way. But it would have been better business decision to either be a mastering engineer talking about mixing and convert people to want to master with me, convert into clients, as well as it would have been better to do a podcast episode about music production, maybe even songwriting, and then sell my services as a mixer. I'm not invested enough, and I'm definitely not a content creator enough to have like full-on courses. I think I have some small courses here that haven't been updated in years. But I'm not the type of guy to make courses. Maybe that might change in the future. I am the type of guy to make plugins, and I'm forever, perpetually stuck in the middle of these two plugins. I don't know when it's going to ever come out. They're just not moving along, and I need to push them along. But that's something that I want to do. But anyway, I was thinking about it this last month, about the podcast, about continuing, about keeping going. One, I love it's kind of like a narcissistic thing here, but I really love being a person of influence, especially within a skill that I feel so confident about, and a skill that is, I'm hoping that shows, like part of it is I'm hoping people see the value and the importance of mixing in everyday production, even at beginner to intermediate levels. It's a very important, and it is definitely a skill, and definitely reflective of the culture, modern day culture. The sound and tones of records turn into feelings of nostalgia as decades pass. For example, I've said this many times, if you change and remix Michael Jackson or Earth, Wind & Fire to modern day sounding records, you make it sound and mix it like a Chris Brown record or a Lil Nas X record, anything by Tizio. If Tizio remixes Michael Jackson to make it sound like a Tizio record, as much as I love Tizio and his records that he mixes, I will be fucking pissed. Because there's this feeling, the tone of it is nostalgic. The reason why people love vinyl, vinyl is so inferior. Have you ever listened to a vinyl record without spending a bajillion dollars to have the right preamp that colors the tone coming out of the record enough to actually be listenable? You know, the concept of a vinyl record, it's the lack of quality that comes from vinyl, the cracks, the pops, the skips, the lack of low end that comes from a vinyl record turns into nostalgia. And there's that feeling of nostalgia is irreplaceable. So I do think mixing is very relevant to cultures, and it reflects modern day cultures and priorities, what we like listening to. Hip hop, for the longest, for years, for decades, there was absolutely never, ever distorting the 808s, never distorting the low end. Now that's all we do. It's fun to see things change. It's fun to keep up with everything. But anyway, coming back to this podcast thing, I'm in a really weird position, and I feel like I'm creating a new category for myself, and I've done this on accident, partially because I genuinely don't give a shit. But I want to be very clear. I and Lou even, we are not content creators. Meaning, I don't want to make money. I do not want to make a shit ton of money and rely on content creation for my income. Yes, I make money from the podcast. Yes, I make income here and there from sponsors and different things from the podcast. Yes, I make money from people that sign up to the exclusive episode of the podcast where me and Braden break down interviews from Grammy Award winning producers, engineers, mastering engineers, mixing engineers, and we break it down and make it easy to digest for you and the reasons why they say these things. It's fantastic. You should go sign up. If you haven't listened to the exclusive archives, those are from over a year ago, and there's only one a week. If you sign up, pay the $4 a month or $40 a year at mixingmusicpodcast.com/exclusive, you get 2 new episodes every single week, and you get a different side of DK. For some reason, Braden brings out this really goofy side of me, and it's genuinely really technical knowledge, and then as alongside with a more personal side of DK with Braden. Braden's the man, absolutely the man. All of the episodes that we do together on the main flagship content always perform super well, because Braden's the man. Braden's the man. So shout out to Braden there. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, we are not content creators. And as much as I like making income from this, I have no desire, zero desire. In fact, I would even go and say that I am trying to avoid making too much money from this podcast, which has limited me to doing more things. I could be doing so much more for this podcast, but I'm genuinely afraid is not the right word. But the good news is, with all of this, and this is where I start to get really confident and borderline like really prideful, is that I am one of the few content creators, meaning in the sense that like I push out hours of content a week. Is that fair to say? Like, we push out over an hour or 2 of content every single week. I make videos, podcasts, Instagram shorts, TikToks, whatever. I do lots of content every single week. And on top of that, I am still fully, actively participating in the real world as a mix engineer. I love doing independent projects, and I've talked about my love for on the ground artists that are on the ground kicking trash, that are figuring out this fight to prove to themselves, to prove to their parents, whatever it is. I love being on the ground floor with these artists, with independent artists, but I'm also working with A&R, with labels, with bullshit contracts, with with great contracts, with percentages that actually mean anything. I'm landing placements. There's these things that I would be hard pressed to hear that many other people that are doing as well and as much as we are here at the Mixing Music Podcast is also equivalently doing as much in the actual war zone. Like, we are in the field fucking capturing flags out here, and yet here we are teaching because, I don't know, maybe because I just like to feel like I'm in power. Why do I do the podcast? I don't know. But it's been so fun to watch comments, and I'm sitting here because, first off, I'm hard-headed and arrogant. I know more than most people, and I'm going to tell you that, and I'm going to be right. And regardless of whether or not I'm right, it's going to be hard. I've been through enough bullshit to know when someone's spewing bullshit. And it's also funny to see, like yesterday, this has been happening for years now, since the beginning of the podcast, but I recently have an Instagram short that's gone viral. Not viral. So let me rephrase that. That the algorithm is pushing a little bit more than some of the other shorts that I've been doing. And shout out to my boy Marty, who's been helping us with the short form. He listened to an episode of the podcast that I said I struggle with short form content. Marty's been editing these clips on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at DK Mixes or Mixing Music Podcast. And he made a clip about me talking about loofs and loudness and mastering. It was on the episode from a couple weeks ago about mastering for mixers, mastering basics for mixers. And I talked about the importance of mastering as loud as possible without hurting the song. And sometimes you can get that song, specifically I said to -5 LUFS without hurting it. And if that's the case, you push that song to -5 LUFS. And that was the end of the clip, basically. I was like, you've heard 14, you've heard 12, you've heard 10 LUFS. This is, for those that are unfamiliar, LUFS, loudness units, full scale or whatever, is a way to determine how loud the master record is. You can Google that, YouTube it, exactly. But -9 is like super loud CD levels, fairly loud CD levels. -14 is typical for like a jazz classical film score type thing where it's like super dynamic. And I mean, modern pop records are going, I've seen a really raging pop record where it's loud the entire time. Like I've seen people master like -3. I've seen like -2. It's insane that there's no way that sounds good. But that maybe that's the point of the song. I don't know. But typically I like to shoot for -8, -7. But anyway, my favorite part about this is that there was at least like 2 or 3 people that commented, and they're like, this is the worst advice ever. And I love that shit. I love that shit. One, because it makes me think. I'm like, is it the worst advice? Why did they say that? And I love the pushback. Number 2, I love knowing that this knowledge isn't this concept that I came up with on the spot. Like, it's not just something that I read online. This is from real, on the ground, actively working on big record mix engineer type shit. And the people that are going against it have no fucking clue how right I am. It's just like, it's so, I don't know. It's just so funny to me. I love those comments. Also, I love when people leave those comments. I don't delete them. I don't comment on. I don't do anything with them, because what it does is when someone that likes me or agrees with me sees that, it's more likely these not hateful. It's not haters, but people that disagree with me openly they convert followers to subscribers. You need haters to convert followers into subscribers. It's a really fantastic tool. Like if you as a listener heard about someone calling me a little bitch and like, hey, DK doesn't know what he's talking about, he's stupid, especially on this episode, he's really like, he's really bad. This is really, really bad. And I cannot express how bad this episode is and how hurtful this is for the community. You might, as a fan of me, you might go and listen to that episode and realize, oh my gosh, the guy that was complaining has no idea what he's talking about. And I actually agree with DK, which makes me like DK more. So it turns a follower into a subscriber. And actually, statistically speaking, it might even mean that you might spend more money on any of my services, or you might become an exclusive subscriber. I don't know what it means. Somehow it's better for conversion. It's interesting. Anyway, just a thought that it's been on my mind. I'm kind of ranting right now, but I'm really proud to not be a content creator. I'm really proud to be actively working as a mix engineer. And I was literally talking to a friend who caught me last year in a really weird funk. I was really tired of the repetitive mixing thing. And I've always been sad, as a business person, as an entrepreneur, right? I've always been slightly upset by the fact that I found to be the most passionate about the thing that is the least scalable thing that I've ever done, which is mixing, right? Which is one song at a time. I have to be the one to do it. I can't franchise it really, and I can only like hire assistants and try to teach them the best, but it's still not me, It's this really unscalable business format that isn't objectively better than the other. It's mostly about branding and who's popular at the time, especially at the higher levels. So it's this really interesting thing. And I get frustrated by that. Last year, I almost there was maybe a couple years ago when I was in a really depressed funk. This is before I started running. I was really depressed for a solid couple years. Bullshit just kept hitting the fan. I'm not going to rant about it on the podcast, but everything bad that could have happened for 2 years in a row just fucking happened. And it was on a personal level. I was down in the shit, dude. And it was insane. Which actually, anyway, we won't get into it. But, I was really depressed, and during that time, I almost quit mixing specifically. I was trying to outsource everything. I was thinking about just dropping it off and doing something else, maybe going back into one of the other companies that I started and just leaving music entirely. Not because I wasn't getting enough work, but because it just wasn't as satisfying anymore, which is a big deal. I only do this because it's satisfying. If I wanted to make more money, I would literally do anything else. It's just fun. I feel like there's this level of this insecurity that comes from every mix that's but it's not so much that it's hurting me. It's just enough to make me want to be better, and I get freaking stoked every time I level up my career or I level up what I feel like my perception of skill. I just get so stoked, and there's very few things in this world that get me as stoked as leveling up as an engineer. It's just really interesting. I love that. And now I'm just really ranting. I'm really going off. Anyway, there's lots of plugins out there. I will say, as a thing about the plugins, as much as I love plugins and as much as I endorse plugins and try to use different tools to get different sounds and to improve my sound, I will say though, after all of that, I'll be real with you. The plugins that you have are not going to make you a better mixer. It's not. I will outmix the shit out of anyone who dares to stand challenge with me with default generic, with the stock plugins in Pro Tools, which isn't even known for their good stock plugins. I will mix the shit out of you. I will outmix you anytime, any day of the week. Come challenge me. I'll print an MP3 just to make it even, and my MP3 will still sound better than your Wave with my stock plugins. I'll talk my shit. Let me talk my shit here. But it's not about the plugins. It's really not about the plugins. Yes, there are some plugins that make processes faster, and I think making processes faster and getting to places faster is more valuable than is the most valuable part of new tools. I do think I'm a huge proponent of controlling your expenses as a business, as a hobbyist even. We live in a time where debt is the norm. We live in a time, and I don't know why this is controversial, but people go to school and sign a paper and say, I'm willing to take on student loan, to find out that they can't get a job that matches the amount of loan that they have, at least not as quickly as they thought they would. And then the government was about to bail them out. And then people relaxed, and they're like, now that they're not getting bailed out, it's like, why is the government so evil? It's like, wait. When was it the expectation for your loans that you agreed to? First off, I believe in taking responsibility. I also believe that you shouldn't take loans that you can't afford. It's as simple as that. And then I watch like some like financial stuff on YouTube and Instagram and stuff, and it's just funny to me. Like Dave Ramsey type shit is, or like the new Caleb Hammer, who I love. I love how bold he is. I love how much of a dick he is. I love it. And people are like, I don't know why. I don't have any money and I'm full of credit card debt and I bought a car and put in $20,000 of loan for it. I'm like, why? You are insane. I'm a big believer. The point is, I'm a big believer in not spending money that you don't have. And from the mouth of was it Jay-Z? I'm pretty sure it's Jay-Z. From the mouth of Jay-Z, if you can't buy it twice, you can't afford it. So I will be clear, as much as I endorse plugins and software doesn't make you money. It doesn't make you money. Spending more time in your DAW does. So as much as I love plugins and endorse them, plugins is not the reason why you suck. Don't let your ego tell you otherwise. You suck because you haven't had enough experience. And the good thing about being sucky, being 100% related to experience, is that you can always get more experience. It doesn't matter your situation. It doesn't matter where you live. As long as you have access to a computer, you can download free stems. You can practice. You can work with friends. And you can work with artists from the ground up. There's always ways to get better. It's the most democratic thing ever. It's fantastic, especially in the United States, where that is known to is so, from an economic perspective, it is so the marketplace is so volatile. You can move up classes in a generation. You can go from low to high class in a single generation. I know you can't do that in Japan. You can't do that shit in Japan. Name me another country where you can do it as easily as America. And it's not easy. It's so hard. It's so much responsibility. It's so much impulse control to get there. But man, maybe this is kind of getting into the 4th of July type sentiments type shit here. I'm really grateful to be in a fucking crazy country where we believe in crazy things, and we are the first country to try out stupid fucking ideas to find out that they either work or they don't. I'm glad that we are creative and entrepreneurial enough as a country to be the first to try shit out. And I love that we have the common sense to not have another civil war. As much as we hate each other from left to right, up and down, from color to color, race, whatever, as much as we have our issues, we aren't killing each other like we did in the late 1800s. So, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that nobody's killing each other about whether or not it's ethical to own another human being. We're way past that stage. I'm grateful to be able to do music. It takes a strong nation and a strong economic system for anybody to make a living from any sort of creative endeavor. There are, thanks to TikTok, thanks to Facebook, thanks to Instagram, thanks to YouTube, thanks to the internet, anyone with a shit ton of hard work can make it. Even people that fucking suck. I mean, look at JJ Icefish. We're talking, even that guy can have a moment to shine, And then it takes a lot of effort and know-how to monetize it and maintain that attention. But attention is the most democratized it's ever been. It's fantastic. It's grateful to be there. And in the world in general, not just North America, but it's 4th of July, so I'm saying North America here in the United States of America. But it's the most democratized it's ever been. And as much as there's things to complain about, here's the facts. There's always going to be things to complain about. The things to complain about will never, ever, ever end. I mean, I've brought up my favorite quote so many times from C.S. Lewis. There's never going to be the perfect opportune moment to start a music career, to do this, to take the next step, to get married, to ask someone out, to interview for a job, to move, to go to college, to graduate college, to pick a degree because you've been in college for 10 years straight, to go to community college, right? Or whatever. It's never going to be the opportune moment. But those who win are those who want knowledge so badly that they go for it even when it's not an opportune moment. That's the truth. And we live in a world where it's never been easier. It's never been easier. It's never been easier. Starvation and poverty is at an all-time low ever in the history of the world. The lower class has never been smaller, ever, in the history of the United States. Even though it doesn't seem like it, it's never been smaller. Look it up. Go look it up. Especially when you include inflation. It's crazy. With a little bit of self-control, with a lot of taking responsibility, with a lot of impulse control, and just and knowing what you want and being willing to sacrifice for the thing that you want can get you very far. And I really believe that. More important, isn't it better to live life believing that? Let's say it's not true. Isn't it better for that thought to be one of the thoughts that you have, that you practice willful ignorance? You have a deep hope for that. Isn't that a better way to live life? Luckily it's not true that you can't move up, that everything's stuck, that your lives are preordained and they have to be what is it called? Predetermined, that you're going to be in the low class forever, you're going to be whatever, you won't be able to whatever. Luckily we live in a time where people are smart enough to figure that out, and it's the great news is it's based on effort. And the cool news is that most people won't put in the effort. So it's not that hard. It's not that hard. Just got to work a little bit harder than everybody else. And everybody else ain't working that hard. I'm not going to lie to you. The effort, if you it's kind of funny. It's really great. It's a great, peaceful, prosperous time full of opportunity. And don't let anybody else tell you otherwise, because there's no practical reason to believe otherwise. There's no practical reason to be guided and led down the road via fear. Fear sucks. Fear sucks. All right, let me answer some questions. This is bonus content. We've already talked about plugins here. Some bonus stuff. Yes, Lou is injured. He got poked in the eye. Scratched his cornea. Looks like he's going to have an eye patch for the next week. He's fine, though. He's fine. Luckily, he's an audio engineer and not a colorist. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Okay, DK. Here is a scenario. You are trapped on an island with an analog console and 24-track tape machine. Man, that sucks. If I'm trapped on an island... That also means I probably don't have internet. I'd probably go surfing every single day. I'd probably be way too busy looking for food and taking care of my family, assuming that my family's there with me. Probably wouldn't record music as much until I got some systems figured out. And to be honest, if I'm on an island, I'm not artistic enough. I'm not the type of person that just makes music for the sake of making music. Maybe eventually, but not right now. I mean, it turned into a job, and it changes, right? I have many conversation episodes about what happens, what you sacrifice, the passion. Passion alone is not enough to make a career out of music. There's only so many years of absolute fucking poverty that you can stand on looking poverty right in the eyes using the excuse of passion. You got to do something with it. Anyway, no, I'd probably go surfing every single day. Fuck it, dude. If I'm on an island, I'm swimming with the dolphins. I'm some sort of boogie board. I'm going to be playing in that water. I'm an island boy, dude. I'm from Okinawa. I'm going to be surfing every single fucking day. I'm going to be brown, too. Oof. I'm going to go back to my natural color oh, man. Anyway. The plane you went down on was carrying high-end audio equipment, but no outboard gear, nice mics, monitors, and you have to create an EDM hit or the island natives will kill you. What do you do? Oh, shit! Oh, an EDM hit? Oh, man, I'm going on Splice, dog. That's what I am doing. And then I'm going to hit that L2 limiter and get that shit to -3 LUFS. Put some fart sounds in there. Heck yeah, there we go. That's what I'm doing. This is from Andy Milanakis on Twitch. Why is AI taking over the plugin world? I keep seeing new AI stuff more and more often. AI deverb and vocal cleanup. Is that even worth a damn? Interesting. You know what's really interesting is this last NAMM, there was almost no booths about AI. And AI is a very hot topic, and I want to say that AI is also very misunderstood. As far as like, we've had algorithms that are coded to adapt to different scenarios. I don't think that Deverb AI is actually AI. I think people are just using hot topic keywords for the marketing side of it. But these new algorithms and these things where it's more flexible and more adaptable, and maybe there is a level of AI that I don't understand. I'm not an expert in AI, so I don't know. I think it's fantastic. These are tools that are eventually going to make us more money, in the sense as mixers, as on the field workers. It's going to make us more money because it's going to speed up our workflow. If I don't have to hire an assistant to fucking cut up this podcast episode and make clips out of it, AI can make clips out of it, which there's already websites that do that. Fantastic. If I can do AI instead of hiring someone to deverb a vocal or to clean up the vocals or whatever, that's awesome. I'm going to be able to make more money per hour. And it's also going to require the necessities to be an assistant will go up, like the requirement for an assistant. So it's going to actually push people, which means when people are pushed and their required higher levels are required, then what it's going to do, it's going to make the best of the best stand out. All the lazy people that aren't willing to put in the work are going to complain, while the people that aren't willing to complain, that are willing to get down and do the hard thing, are going to make more money. They're going to find greater opportunities. They're going to be given bigger chances. So if you are the type of person that is comfortable doing the hard thing, it's good news. It's good news. Most people aren't, and that's why most people think it's bad news. So that's the, don't be a little whiny bitch is kind of that'll make you money, dude. That'll make you best. It'll make you the best. The strongest audio engineers, both men and women, both wherever location they are. This is a quote that I heard one time. One of the key things that correlates to your income is your ability to take shit. So like, if you get, the reason why you get hired and promoted as a manager at some place like JCPenney is because you're able to take on more bullshit than the person below you. You are in charge of taking on the shit. And if you can if you're able to deal with more bullshit than a manager, you're more likely to get promoted even more. Your income is directly correlated to the amount of shit you're willing to put up with. You're able to put up with. And we live in a day where to be neurotic is normal. I'm actually fairly neurotic. I try not to be, but I'm actually fairly neurotic and really emotionally driven. I'm not as logical as I try to be. So it's really interesting. Okay, this is from Linhart97, a longtime subscriber, a longtime fan. Welcome back to the stream, Linhart97. You say, I know this does not relate to plugins, but do you know any tips on recording ballad folk-type vocals on a Shure SM7B? Awesome. Fantastic. The only tips that I can give specifically is to don't compress as much as you would for a pop song. And don't be afraid to leave some muddiness and some artifacts. Don't clean up so much. The point of these these pure folk and ballad type songs is the emotion that is evoked. The hairs that stand on your arm comes from a sense of dynamics, a sense of imperfection. And you should not over-edit, over-tune, over-process. Try to get it right in the recording stage, even if it takes a little bit of tuning, tweaking, and a few extra takes. I think that's the best thing. I think everything else is fairly flexible. I mean, there's a lot of room. You can clean stuff up a lot if you'd like to. But I think with those sort of genres, I want you to keep in mind that it's okay for things to be imperfect. And allowing imperfection to pass through your threshold of what's tolerable is a great skill. I hope that made sense. Did what I just say made sense? Yeah. To be secure enough with your own skill and understanding of music that you allow things to be imperfect is a fantastic skill to have. It's a fantastic skill to have. On the opposite end, being a perfectionist most of the time does not help you. Sometimes it does. Most of the time it does not help you. So if the song is meant to bring out an emotion of fun, then make sure that you have fun and smile while the artist smiles while they're recording, making sure that they're having fun. If it's somber, maybe you talk to them about a story about what the song is about, and you bring to them that somber tone that they realize and really fully breathe in, that they understand before they start recording. So, I think it's more about the emotions behind it and not over perfecting it. I think those are my thoughts. Okay, Andy Milanakis asked another question. This will probably be the last question for this episode is, have you ever used any UA Townsend Sphere mic or any sort of mic modulation? It's wild how much, he says, wild to see how much shit is evolving. Although I think it's been out for a while. Yeah, I think it's cool. I'm not going to lie to you. Out of the few experiences that I've had, oh man, I need to be careful because I know this company has a big marketing budget. So I need to be very careful here. But I have been known to say that I am not a fan of a specific company where the CEO has a really square jaw. I'm not a fan of that company's microphone. I'm not a fan of that microphone at all. Not a fan. I think it's really harsh. Even with emulation or without emulation. I've only had one opportunity to record with the Sphere. I think it was good. I think it was fine. But the cool thing about all these things is that you can use a regular plugin and you can use the mic modulation plugin. You can use any mic and then use those plugins to change the tonality of the microphone, regardless of what mic you're using. So it may not be one-to-one to a Sony microphone, C800G, right? But what it's going to do is going to brighten up the top end, and it might be this cool saturation thing. I've done that a lot, and that's fun. I wonder the necessity of it. It kind of goes to show, I think for me, it kind of goes to show the marketing behind microphones and tools more than anything else. I love the new Wolfnik album from Wolfman, from Jack Stratton, from the Wolfpack crew. The James Jamerson only uses one finger. I love that track. I listen to it every once in a while, and it's fucking hilarious. It's great. Jack Stratton is a genius. But the point is very clear. What does he say? He's like, ignore the drab, wear bright clothes and play fast. James Jamerson only used one finger. Remember your tools, man. He says, I use student model tools and I still play better than you. Remember your tools. What are your tools? Your tools is not a new amp, not a new bass, not a different set of strings. Your tools is your skills. Really, you should go check it out. It's a great track. Again, James Jamerson used one finger. I love it. It's so funny. At the very end, she's like, the person that he's sitting down with, apparently, she's like, I kind of like that. And he's like, were you following any of that? And the track ends with her saying, no. And then it immediately goes into the next song. It's fantastic. Anyway, this has been a fun, personal episode of the Mixing Music Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for leaving 5 stars on Spotify. I've noticed a few more people have clicked on 5 stars on Spotify. I'm watching the numbers go up. It's fantastic. Thank you for leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, on Google, wherever you're listening to. Thank you so much to our sponsors. Thank you for all of our exclusive podcast subscribers. Thank you so much for our YouTube subscribers, for anybody that's participated in the podcast in any shape or form. Really grateful for you. Feel really blessed. And on that note, I'd like to say, happy mixing, my friends, and stay saucy. Well, fuck. I wasn't recording that. I was not recording that at all. Whatever, I got the audio. have to download the Twitch stream. That's... Oh, man. That's funny. Yeah, someone clipped the first hour of this stream so I can download it and use it. That's funny. You know, I got a request from Marty, who makes the clips. He's like, DK, we need more hot takes. We need more hot takes, DK. I need you to spew your bullshit because it makes for better clips. And, you know, he's right. I'm doing good. I'm good at saying things that borderline get me canceled. Although, like, we're kind of past cancel culture. It kind of plateaued. It's probably on its decline right now. And it's really interesting. I literally genuinely believe in the shit that I say. More importantly, because I think that it's better to believe in it than to not. Like, there's some things that are really harsh realities that I believe in that I genuinely believe that may not be true. And definitely isn't true for some people. But what's the point of believing the opposite? What's the point of believing that the world isn't fair? That you're stuck? That makes no sense to me. There's no practical reason for it. People should be comfortable with the idea of willful ignorance. I know that in philosophy, ignorance and blissfulness is not necessarily the best thing ever, but I do think that in this chaotic world, we need to practice a form of willful ignorance, especially if it is more logically beneficial, practically beneficial for our souls to do so, for our families. Anyway, what do we want to talk about next? Probably, I said I was going to do some sort of like clickbaity thing about the one tool. What is the one tool? What do I believe the one tool is? The one tool. If I can teach students one thing. What would it be? What advice, hey, anybody in the chat right now, what advice do you have to new mixers, new producers? Honestly speaking, like what is, type some advice out, like in a sentence, in one sentence or in a few words. What is some advice that you like, that you think is important? If you can give me some advice that's often overlooked, even better. Like advice that's not given that you think is more important than people realize. I had someone DM me about contracts and bad contracts. But that was a very specific scenario that we were to figure out via DMs. Something about, probably, I've talked about the power and the value of assertiveness. Oh, yeah, Antares has great vocal plugins. The vocal comp is cool. The vocal EQ is insane. I use that all the time. Oh, yeah. And luckily, Antares is a current sponsor of the podcast, and they love their shit. I think their non-autotune stuff is superiorly underrated. I think it's super underrated. I think Antares is one of those monthly paid bundles. And didn't they come out with a new cheaper version where you just get some of the stuff or whatever? Antares is fantastic. And they are a company that actually cares about, like, if you've ever done any sort of troubleshooting with them or called in and tried to figure things out, you can tell they care about their user base. I mean, in the face of avid customer service, Antares obviously cares about their user base. That's crazy. We could talk about Mario and how I'm fucking stoked for Pikmin 4 and Mario Wonder. Holy shit, I'm stoked. I'm going to download Pikmin 2 today and play through that with my wife and my son. Holy shit, I love Pikmin. My wife and I have played through Pikmin 3 Deluxe on the Switch at least 3 times from the beginning. We love that shit. Love that shit. Maddie Kid, 17. Antares is so buggy, though. Licenses always... Okay, their licenses are buggy. I agree with that. Their licenses are a little bit buggy. I'm like, their plugins have never failed me. Like, in session, I've never had plugins fail. But as far as their licenses go, Yeah, their authorization services fucking suck. Luckily, they follow it up with great customer service who will always take care of you. If you do have, which you're likely to have to go through shit for their licensing stuff, it totally sucks. It fucking sucks. It does suck. There's no denying that. But their plugins are not buggy at all. They run better than half the plugins I own. I'm thinking I'm gonna get a new computer this month. I'm really yeah, it's scuffed, dude. Sometimes it's really scuffed. But I'm getting a new computer this month, and now we're really gonna see which plugins are scuffed because I'm about to get either M1 or M2 chip. We're gonna see what happens. It's getting to the point where my computer is actually costing me dollars per hour. It's costing me dollars per hour, man. When these sessions keep crashing, it's costing me dollars per hour. Hold on. We gotta get the new persona. Hold on, wait a second. There you go. I feel like Dr. Disrespect right now. The two-time back-to-back 1993, 1994 blockbuster video game champion of the world and video game superstar. Dr. Disrespect. That's what I feel like. I feel like now with these sunglasses, I can talk my shit. And have hot takes. I feel really confident. Maybe we should do an episode about hot takes. What are some hot takes that you've heard me say that I feel like people, that is some bullshit? Like, what have you heard me say on the podcast where I am obviously on my bullshit? I want to talk about those things. When have I been on my bullshit? I'm gonna talk about the times. I'm always on my bullshit. I've never not been on my bullshit. But let's see here. So I want to make sure that is the live stream on YouTube still going? Let's see here. It is still going. Oh, it has not been showing me the Danny Taylor, PP Smalls. Are y'all still here? PP Smalls asked, "How do you feel about Antares EQ and comp plugins?" Fantastic. The AI sounds cool on paper, but I don't use the AI stuff for that. Yeah, I don't use the AI stuff for that. Yeah, Danny Taylor, your comments are not pulling up on my OBS. That's fucked. That's scuffed. Whatever. I see you now, though. Yeah, Antares EQ is fantastic. Hot take: ear versus gear. Here we go. I've done a lot of hot takes about gear. Should we do it? Should I just do episode of hot takes? Keep feeding me hot takes that I've done. Keep feeding me hot takes. I'm going to leave these sunglasses on. I feel powerful. I feel like I can talk my shit with no shame. I'm recording the video this time. Here we go. We're starting. Keep feeding me hot takes. All right. Hello and welcome back to the Mix of Music Podcast. I am your host, DK Mixes. Some people call me Big Daddy D. Some people call me Donkey Kong. But no one ever calls me that sissy man over there. No one calls me that loser that can't even get to level World 8 in the original Super Mario Brothers. Some people have called me short and small because I am a solid 5'8". You know what's crazy is that this podcast episode, I'm wearing the sunglasses again. If you've listened to the exclusive episodes, there was an episode where I was talking my shit because I felt empowered. by my sunglasses that I wear. My running sunglasses. These are what I exercise with, what I run with, and I feel empowered. I feel like the douchebag that I look like a douchebag, and I identify as a douchebag when I wear these sunglasses. So this episode, I'm not giving a shit. I am not giving a fuck about your feelings, and I'm going to tell you some hot takes. The point of this episode, short episode about some hot takes. The real shit. Shit that none of your friends are ever going to tell you, because guess what? They're not your real friends, because they're not honest enough to call it what it is, which is you just being a whiny little bitch. All right. First up on the plate, we got Linhart97 on Twitch says, hot take on ear versus gear. Here's a hot take on ear versus gear. Guess what? Two things actually. I'm gonna say two things. One, sometimes it is about the gear. Okay, I'm gonna start with that. If your computer still runs on Windows 97, right? It may be about the gear. If you're running on a MacBook built in the Stone Ages, it may be about the gear, okay? If you're running a mic on Amazon that has 3 stars that costs $25, it may be the gear. Okay? If you have a little sister or a little brother that is coming into your rooms talking about how much they're excited for Pikmin 4, right? While you're recording, it may be about your environment, okay? Those are valid excuses. Okay? You know what's not a valid excuse? It's not a valid excuse. In fact, a non-practical excuse is even with valid excuses of gear, you should not blame your tools. And here's why. If you blame your tools, I'm in North America, and the great thing about the United States of America is culturally, we have this thing that if we, as a people, as Americans, want to do something, we fucking do it regardless of whether we have the right tools. Here's the thing. In Japan, I'm Japanese, I'm an immigrant, right? From Japan, there's this thing where if you want to run, if you want to be a runner, and you're like, I've decided, I've watched enough YouTube videos about runners, I'm going to be a runner. What happens is that they're not going to start running. Typically, the culture of Japanese people, they don't start running until they have the running shoes, the running socks, the running shorts, the running shirt, the sunglasses, the hat, the running hat, and all in coordinated colors. There's a sense of over-preparedness where they look fucking cool. I'm not gonna lie. Look at me. Look at these shades. And if you aren't watching me, if you're listening to the podcast only, you got to subscribe on YouTube, right? You got to look at these sunglasses, these dual pink shades with some light blue on the sides. You know, these shades are crazy, right? And this new persona that's coming out when I wear these shades. Anyway, there's this thing. There's this thing that happens that's over-preparedness. We live in the United States of America where we don't give a fuck about over-prepared. If you want to skateboard, we will put some fucking we will steal some shopping carts, take those roller wheels and put it on a piece of 2x4. That's what we will do. That is the spirit of America. And here's the thing. The good thing about that, not blaming your tools, even if it actually is your tools, is what happens when you think that it is you and your own skill, even if it is actually valuable and actually real, that it may be your tools, is that you figure out ways to make it work regardless. When you take responsibility and get rid of your excuses, what happens is that you find yourself improving, getting better. And what on earth is better than self-improvement? Everybody has valid excuses. Oh my gosh, I grew up in the poor part of town. My parents are divorced. I'm not white. Oh my gosh, I don't have this. I don't have this. I'm not talented enough. But you know who really cooks up good music? Yeah, the real ones that make a living off of anything or that are successful in finding personal fulfillment, even if it's not money, are the ones who never give a shit, even with valid excuses. So I'm going to tell you right now, quit being a little whiny bitch. Use what you have. Use what you have and get better every single day. If you really, really are as passionate, every single day I get interns. Every single goddamn day there's an email that's like, DK, I want to intern at your studio. I want to intern for you. And I'm like, I could throw a rock and it'll probably hit someone that wants to be an intern right in the face. Right in the face. And I don't even need to go to I could do that in a quiet suburban area and someone will want to intern from me. High demand. Working in audio is as cool as these sunglasses. You understand? It's as cool. Everybody wants to do it. That's why if you want to do it, prove it. If you want to do it, prove it. Show me. Show us. Show your parents. Make your ancestors proud of you for once. Here you are complaining when your great-grandpa didn't even have a dentist. That motherfucker was flossing with leaves, and you're complaining about your keyboard not working. You know what I'm saying? He had to wipe his ass after full-on diarrhea because he or she had to drink unclean water from the river. The only source of water that was available to... Here you are complaining about your student loans not being forgiven by the government. What the fuck kind of bullshit are you on? You have pet insurance, dog. Pet insurance is a real thing because nobody can handle the despair of an animal getting hurt. We live in 2023. Where the fuck is this entitlement coming from? Shit gets hard. Who gives a fuck? I don't care if you're a man, if you're a woman, if you're from the gutters, from the top. I don't care if you are a SAS fund baby, if you're a trust fund baby. Shit is supposed to be hard. Did you think that the music career, trying to do something with music, was going to be easy? You understood going into this that this shit was going to be hard. You know? This shit was going to be hard. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is the hard part that you signed up for. This shit right here is the hard part that you signed up for. And it's not going to get easier until it gets harder first. Again. I'm serious. Every time I get depressed or I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot handle this bullshit. This is so hard. I'm thinking about my grandparents who are still alive that had to eat cockroaches to survive during World War II. You know, I'm from Okinawa. Not only did we get taken over by Japan uncivilly, and I mean, everybody knows about Hawaii, how disrespectful America was to Hawaii, how America could have illegally taken over, probably unethically overthrown Hawaii. But nobody talks about how Japan unethically overthrew Okinawa because at the end of the day, Japan lost the war. Nobody talks about that shit. I'm on the losing team of the guy that lost. And here I am, still trying to do everything. I'm remembering the bullshit that my grandparents had to go. They're still alive because I'm Okinawan and they will never die. It's one of the few blue zones. We're not going to talk about it. Nobody in my family has died because they're all Okinawan. That's a whole separate... nobody in my family's going to die because they're healthy. And we're not going to get into that. Here's the thing. Fuck your excuses, right? I used to say this a couple years back before I left Utah. When I was in Utah, that was our saying at the studio. We'd always say, fuck your excuses, because everybody's got them. And everybody's excuses are valid. They're valid. Your excuses are valid. And that's the most dangerous part about excuses, is that they're valid. You have been discriminated against. That is a valid excuse to give up. That is a valid excuse to give up, and society wants you to give up. Your mom can't stand the thought of her baby boy or her baby girl getting hurt by these online bigots. Can't stand the thought. She wants you to give up. But if she's a real one, and some of y'all have real moms, she looks at danger right in the fucking eyeballs and says, my son or daughter can handle this bullshit, smacks you right in the ass, and you're back in the game. Back in the game. Now, taking the glasses off for a moment here. I do believe in respect, in understanding, in social consequences, in forms of justice. I do believe in equal opportunities for everyone. Glasses back on. Sorry. Okay, so to be fair. Okay, another hot take right here. Maddie Kid 17. on Twitch says, hot take, tonal balance can be gaslighting. Well, what does that even mean? Maddie, what does that even mean? Hold on. Tonal balance can be gaslighting. What does that even mean? I don't quite understand what that means. All right. Tonal balance can be gaslighting. Okay, so going back until you properly, expand on your I cannot deduce from what you're saying. So expand on the topic there. But until we do that, let's keep going on with excuses. I do an episode about this every once in a while. About once or twice a year, I do an episode about this. I do an episode about your excuses. And life is hard. Life is hard. You know what's crazy narcissistic? Is for you to have problems with your life and you to even remotely think that nobody will ever understand you because your life is harder than anybody else's. You know what that shows? That is actually what psychologists would call narcissistic neuroticism. If you are depressed, which is a real thing, you need help, you need to get therapy. If you are suicidal, again, real thing. That is nothing to joke about. I know if you are creative, if you are creative, then you may be more likely to be actually depressed. So I'm talking real shit here for a second. Fuck the persona for a moment. If you're actually if you're depressed, you need to get your shit together. You need to find a therapist. It is important that you know that your life is important, that your potential of your future, even if it's fucking shit right now, we need you to keep living, dog. We need you to keep living. Okay, that is no joke. That is no joke. Humans have values not because that we are human. Humans don't intrinsically have value just because we're humans and because we have a conscience. We have values because we have opinions, that we believe and love things that are fucking weird. Our opinions. We shape the world. You may do something in your life. You may say something to someone that encourages them. You may call them out on something. Your value is your existence. So please, for the love of all that is holy, get some help. I'm serious if that is your case. But if you are the type of person that says, when I die, everybody's going to be more guilty and upset than they will grieve over me, that is a form of narcissistic neuroticism, and you need to hit reality right in the fucking face. Or sorry, reality is going to hit you in the face. My bad. If you're the type of person that if we have to dig to the center of the earth and we find you, you're going to get burned, dog. You're going to get burned. Because at the end of the day, one of the secrets with growing your music career is collaboration. And how can you collaborate? If you believe that you can do this and build an empire by yourself, we got some delusional motherfuckers out in this world. We got some delusional people out in this world. And maybe I'm one of them. There's a healthy amount of delusion. You got to realize there's a little bit of humility that needs to happen. You need to understand. It's okay to be arrogant at times. It's okay to be delusional at times. But come on, dog. What's coming out of your mouth? Is it sunshine or darkness? Are you mostly complaining about people? Or are you talking people up? Are you talking people up? There's 2 hallmark indicators to a real friend. 2 hallmark indicators. Number 1, a real friend you can tell bad news to and they listen. I'm not a good friend a lot of the times, but a real friend you can tell bad news to and they won't judge you for it. The second hallmark of a great friend is you can tell them good news and they will light you up. They will tell you how cool you are, how great you are, how much you deserved it. Friends are not people that put you down in front of your face or behind your back when something good happens. Friends are not people that you're unable, that I'm honestly, I feel a little bit of guilt about this because I'm that type of guy that if you give me bad news, I'll probably call you a bitch. I'm not going to lie. I'm just that type of guy, especially with these sunglasses on. I'm understanding, but I'm also going to be real with you. But at the same time, reality is going to hit you in the face. And reality in society is a shittier teacher, a more brutal teacher than is more difficult to deal with than the fear and the hard work that it takes, the fear that you have to overcome and the hard work that it takes to get over yourself. Now that, the type of person who is going to stand up for anything while looking that dragon right in the face. The dragon of laziness. The dragon, the beast of eating whatever you want. The dragon of not looking at how you spend money. It's tough to look at that bank account, especially when you know there's nothing in it. It takes a responsible motherfucker to look at that shit. Look it right in the eye and realize I need to make budgets this month. Now that's a real hardworking man and woman. And that is the type of person that I will always try to put in the game. I will actively work against you if you are rude, if you are mean, if I hear you talking too much shit. I will actively work against you, and people at the top will work against you. And this is the real shit. If there is gatekeeping, it's this. We don't want people to come to the top with low-life mentality. And that low-life mentality is pulling people that are trying to climb out of the bottom of the barrel, pulling people down. We don't want that shit at the top. And keep you out. It's crazy. It's crazy. This is going to be a little bit brutal here. I met a lot of people, a lot of really cool, hardworking people that deserve the world and more. I'm also not going to lie to you. I've met a lot of losers. Losers that think that they can't fathom why they didn't get the shot. Or if they got the shot, the one chance to prove themselves, they weren't able to follow through. They can't understand, but now they spend the rest of their life complaining. We all know losers like that. But here you are listening to this podcast, trying to get your education straight, trying to get better because you actually fucking care. Now that is being human at its finest. Being human at its finest. Take responsibility. You gotta earn happiness. Remember your ancestors. I'm serious. If you tell your great-great-grandpa, if you went back in time and you told them that you have pet insurance, they're gonna laugh at you, dog. My great-great-grandpa was probably in some sort of fucking civil war killing their siblings. They're like, we ain't got no time to think about pet insurance. We had time to talk about how to handle grief. That's some dark shit. But that's life. That's life. It's dark at times. It's difficult. More people, it is uncommon to never be depressed in your life. In fact, it's extremely rare. Never happens. Everybody gets depressed, severe depression at some point in their life. And I hope you get through it. You will get through it. The great news about all this, and I always end with this, I try to end with as much love as possible, is that if you can make it through, you will be able to look back and realize how hard it was, but also realize you are the type of person who was able to waddle, to crawl, to get through the mud and survive. And if that is not better ammunition for the future, if that is not better motivation for anything else in this life, if that doesn't instill confidence about your ability to make mistakes, to move on, to improve, I don't know what will. You got to get hurt. I'm looking, my boy just turned 5 yesterday. My oldest boy just turned 5 yesterday. I have a lot of thoughts about this. I'm terrified. I'm terrified of someone bullying him. I'm terrified that I might accidentally bully him. In the ideas, in the hidden under the cloak of good intentions. I'm hoping that I can be a great father for him. I'm hoping that I will. Because I had bad parents growing up. I didn't have a good example. I only had bad examples. And I want my son to have a good life. And I have come to the conclusion, we're all wrong, I have no idea what I'm doing, but what I'm deciding, the conclusion that I've come to, what I've decided to do is to allow my son to make decisions and allow my son to suffer the consequences, no matter how much it hurts me. If he gets punched in the face at school, he may have deserved it, he may not have. I don't know. We're going to figure this out. We're going to make him strong. I cannot coddle him his whole life. I want to give him the best life. I do. And I'm sure most parents here wanted that for you. But it's time for the real world. And the real world is sometimes cold and cruel. It's filled with valid excuses. And here you are, ready to overcome the world. I tweeted this last week. Years of grinding pays off. Years of grinding pays off. Good things have been happening for me recently, as of late. And this year has been one of the best years for me financially as well as for my career. Best years ever. Years of grinding pays off. Years of grinding pays off. Having virtue, being virtuous pays off. Having good character pays off. Being honest with yourself and others pays off. Being friendly pays off. Being understanding pays off. Being a good hang pays off. Going to the gym or exercising pays off. Eating healthy pays off. Paying off your debts literally pays off. And sometimes, it starts with waking up and brushing your teeth. That's where it starts. Take responsibility, one bit at a time. I'm not saying go run a marathon. I'm not saying that. In fact, man, you got to have some shitty-ass parents to even want to run a marathon. That's fucked up. You got to be some kind of masochist to want to run a marathon. There's no logical reason to run a marathon. I'm going to tell you right now. There's no logical reason. It's just crippling insecurity is driving the legs of all these marathon runners. That's what it is. Well, you think it's angels pushing us to the finish line, motherfucker? These are demons. These are demons pushing us to these finish lines. I do not know where I was going with that, so I'm gonna back off. Oh, man. Hot take, Antares sounds better when low latency mode is off. You know, it does run smoother. Another hot take, I don't know if this is a hot take, but these are actually just factual. Actual factual pieces of advice here. Maddie Kid 17. Real shit. If you are using Antares Autotune, go to makesmusicpodcast.com/autotune for the best discount that I can possibly give you. You know, at that whatever that is at the time. Whenever you're listening to this podcast. Here's the deal. Also, turning on, not changing anything, leaving it at 0, but turning it on the, not tracking, the on and off for, what's that button on the top right? The format shift? The format shift, just turn it on, then you'll get less pops and clicks, if that is an issue. It'll be a little bit cleaner. It works better when the format shift is on. Don't move it. Just turn it on. I don't know why, but it happens. It happens. All right. I think this has been a good episode. And I'm going to get hate for this episode. Of course I will. Of course I'm going to get hate for this episode. You think those that are looking for scraps at the bottoms get excited about this sort of shit? Nah. The ones utilizing their valid excuses get excited about this sort of topic? Nah. It's you. It's you who stuck around to the end of this episode looking for some granule of information that you can utilize to get better. It's you looking to prove something. It's you looking out of sheer will and passion, sheer strength. And it doesn't have to come from a masculine perspective. I'm going to tell you right now, masculinity, this is what's not about masculinity. This is not about masculinity. There's confusion there. There's confusion there. And this is for a whole nother episode. It's not about being more masculine. It's about being more honest with yourself, being more grateful. It's about being human. Anyway. Everyone, it's great to be a human. It can be great. I'm going to tell you right now, I truly believe one of the major purposes of this life is to feel joy and happiness right now. Christianity focuses a lot, Judeo-Christian religions focus a lot on being happy later. But if God really existed, if Buddha's teachings actually work, if Allah is real, every single one of the prophets and gods that have guided us for millennia probably want us to be happy in some shape or form. You got to follow, and it's the universal principles. Happiness does not come from engaging on every single impulsive desire. Every single impulsive decision that you make. Nah. From the times when we killed mammoths and we controlled our impulses and gave our extra mammoth meat to neighboring tribes for the hopes of when they catch their next mammoth, they give us their extra meat, especially when it could be in times of our famine. From the moment of our human existence, we have learned to be kind, slightly selfishly, but we control our impulses. And be kind. We love. We understand. And we push through brutal mortality. And when we push through, we find that the pushing, that the training, that the running, the weightlifting, the hard things is the spice of life. Spice of life. It's what makes life so happy. I genuinely believe that from my personal understanding of what it is like to be human on this world, I believe that heaven can be nothing other than what it is right now filled. How can I have infinite happiness without infinite misery? Because with infinite misery, I get to appreciate and have gratitude for the infinite happiness. When I know what's out there. The happiest I've ever been in my life was directly after the most depressed I've ever been in my fucking life. I know many of you might relate. I've been suicidal before. It's not fun. It's not fun. Not fun. You get help. Your life is valuable. Be kind, understanding. Stand up for yourself. Be assertive. Tell the honest truth. Try to find joy in this life. And I think the actual joy and satisfaction that it comes starts with taking responsibility one little thing at a time. It's not a plug-in. It's not a gold record. It's not a Grammy. It's not a hit record. It's not 1 million plays. It's not 10 billion monthly listeners. It's about knowing that you deserve that shit. Because you worked fucking hard for it. Yin and yang, my brothers and sisters. Yin and yang. All right, and with that, pretty crazy episode. Me just spewing bullshit here. I wish you, well, first off, please leave a 5-star review. Please leave a 5-star review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever the fuck you're listening on. YouTube, leave a like and subscribe. You've made it this far. Come on. Do me a solid. And on that note, I say, happy mixing, my friends, and stay saucy. Holy shit, was that an episode? Holy shit, that was an episode. All right, I'm going to bounce these. I'm going to bounce these. I'm going to upload these. Appreciate y'all sticking around. Who clipped that first hour? Who clipped that first hour and 2 minutes? I need that clip. And download this shit. Honestly, I should have fixed my hair before we got on live too. Whatever. So many clips. Yeah, that Marty's going to be happy. Marty's going to be happy with that episode. Sheesh. Marty loves it when I say bullshit. He loves it. Shout out to Marty. He's not even here. I don't even think he's live right now. Spewing the facts no matter what. Man, I'm serious though. I don't think I've ever been happier in my life. And I think more importantly, everything that's good that's happening to me right now, like this has been the best year for my career and for my income ever. And I will say that it feels great specifically because I've developed this feeling that I've deserved it. I've worked way too damn hard and suffered way too much when the good times come, I'm appreciating. I'm very grateful for it. I'm serious. I don't think I would have been as grateful if it wasn't for those miserable years. It's genuinely this. I got a clear conscience. I got a fucking clear conscience. You know what I'm saying? I got this healthy level of this feeling of this healthy superiority complex. Man, like I'm kind of tearing up right now just thinking about the emotional trenches I've been through to get to this point, dog. My wife and I, we have a good marriage. My kids tell me they love me every single day. They kiss me when I don't even ask for it. I've set up boundaries so I can spend time with them. I'm grateful. I'm really grateful. Fuck you, Linhart. Fuck you. Oh my gosh. Chuck Norris tried to outmix DK, huh? Chuck Norris tried to outmix DK. Hold on. Linhart on Twitch has redeemed a heavy Japanese accent 5 times in a row. How many goddamn points did you have? Sheesh. What was that? 6,500? No, 7,500 points. 7,500 points. Sheesh. Okay, I'll do it. Thank you so much for listening to the Mixing Music podcast. I am very grateful for anybody listening to my show. I don't always feel like I have valuable things to say. But everybody keep coming back and tells me sometimes in Instagram DM, and they say thank you. They say I change their life, and it really puts things back into perspective for me. I'm very, 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 very happy and grateful.みんな本当心から一日一人一人に本当にありがとうございました。本当にありがとうございました。いつ本当にありがとうございます。また来週もよろしくお願いいたします。How's that? How's that? Is you satisfied now? I actually ended it. I ended it with some actual Japanese. I didn't end it with no Honda Mitsubishi sushi. Some bullshit. Anyway, I'm kind of emotioned out. Like I gotta have another interview. Hold on, I got another interview I'm signed up for. Oh shit. Oh, luckily okay. Okay, never mind. It starts at 3:20. Okay, we're good. Starts at 3:20. Okay. Yeah, no, I really wish everybody here the best of. I really, really, truly. Can you tell when I get like really fucking mean and serious and honest? Can you feel the place of love that it's coming from? The place of hope that it's coming from? I really hope that translates. That's all I want. Is it's hard, but the cool thing about recognizing that it's hard is that it levels out the playing field for everyone because everyone's got it hard. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, man. Anyway, I'm gonna probably end the stream because I gotta go. I have another interview that I gotta do. I'm being interviewed on somebody else's podcast. Maybe I'll share it with y'all later. But thank you so much for listening. I'm gonna play this Yoshi music. Who wants to play? What have I been playing recently? I'm so excited for Pikmin 4. Can we talk about that? Anybody else excited after that last Nintendo Direct? Bro, I was... If I wasn't a Nintendo fan before, I'm a Nintendo fan now. Holy shit. Holy shit. Peach is getting her own game? Super Mario Wonder, dog? Pikmin 4? Are you kidding me? Woo-wee. Hydrate, huh? Anyway, if you want to play Rocket League with me or like Kirby's Dessert Race or whatever, Gourmet Race, or want to play some Fall Guys with me or something like that. No, Derek, I'm not going to play Fortnite with you. But let me know. Oh man, I'm excited for Pikmin 4. I'm going to go on without it. About it. Anyway, happy mixing, my friends. Minecraft's I need to get into Minecraft. Minecraft came out like post high school when I was living in Japan, so I never got into it. And I have a lot. There's a deep pocket of cultural gaming. There's like a deep emptiness that fills the Minecraft that time period. What is that? 2013 to 17 or whatever. There's a deep gaming culture emptiness, that void in my life. I never got into Minecraft. I need to get into it. I need to play. I have no idea. I just know that anytime I play Steve in Super Smash Brothers, any Steve players out there, fuck you. That's all I know. That's all I know. Play a fucking honorable character. Not Steve. Play an honorable. Have some honor. Have some dignity. Don't play Steve. Man. And that's coming from a Min player, so... Alright, happy mixing, my friends. Stay saucy. Enjoy this Yoshi music before I time it out. Peace.